gonna take us under, because we're bringing truth like thunder, raining on your speakers like a ton of bricks. Hold the cross.
When I hear the term lockdown, it reminds me of the many years I worked at the Los Angeles County Jail, which was the largest jail in the world, because we would use that phrase.
Yep.
I mean, the sirens would go off inside the jail. The PA system would go loud, and we would say, lock it down, confine the prisoners, lock it down. When there was an escape or there was a riot and we're trying to regain control of the jail system, the way you restrict the flow of movement, you have to lock everybody down. You got to secure everybody in their jail cells.
Yeah.
And so I'm used to that term, but now we're hearing this term being used in a free society. I haven't committed any crime, neither has Terry, neither has most of us. Now this term, lock it down, is being used by politicians to basically shut down our society. And I'm glad that Dennis Prager and many others, they live in California, so they have a dog in the fight like you do, kidding. Terry. But Prager says that the COVID lockdowns are no longer a mistake, but a crime.
Yeah, explain why is it a crime?
Prager is a Jewish conservative commentator. I would consider him definitely an ally in the culture wars.
And he respects us as Catholics big time.
Absolutely. He sure does. He said that he wrote a syndicated column that the COVID-19 lockdowns imposed upon the U.S. for almost 6 months now. Mm-hmm. They're no longer just a mistake. He says the lockdown's a crime. But even more upsetting is that it's being supported by so many Americans, so many what I call Karens and Kevins, that yell at you when you're in public and say, put on that mask, put on that, you're killing me. And so this country is unrecognizable to those of us who lived through the 1968 and 1978 pandemic, which killed, according to the Center for Disease Control, about 100,000 Americans.
Yep, it was 68 to 70, Jess, not 68 to 88. Yeah, 2 years.
And so it's the 2000. It would be the 2020 equivalent.
Yeah.
Of about 170,000 Americans, and guess what? Nothing got shut down, and no masks were worn from 68 to 70 during this.
That's right.
By the way, pandemic means worldwide. Epidemic means like localized, and epidemic is also a synonym for outbreak.
Got it.
So Prager, he's contrasted the approach to the coronavirus taken in Sweden.
Yep.
They adopted over there, which by the way, which should be adopted in California, he argues. He says that if everybody followed the Scandinavian country example, he says that country never locked down and has even kept children under 16 in school the entire time. And as regards to teachers, Sweden's public health agency reported that a comparison of the incidence of COVID-19, Wuhan-19, in different professions suggested no increased risk for teachers. But in contrast, the schools in California are still, for the most part, either exclusively teaching online or making use of smaller classes, with some of the students going to school and others staying home on a rotating basis. Terry, sheer confusion for the parents.
But Jesse, the best part about this exposes this, is that the teachers in Los Angeles, and one of our listeners, a monthly donor, is a teacher. He said this to me already. I knew this, that the teachers in Los Angeles and other parts of the Golden State, Prager wrote, refuse to enter a classroom that has students in it. Their disdain for their profession has been superseded only by that of the Los Angeles Teachers Union. Ready for this, everybody? Which announced that teachers will not resume teaching until the police are defunded. And one more point. That point right there really gets me upset because I'm here in California. But apart from schools, Jesse, for about a month, Sweden has reported almost no deaths from COVID-19, while the entire society remains open and almost no one wears masks. For all intent purposes, the virus is over in Sweden. And Jesse, their economy is doing fine. People aren't out of work. The collateral damage never hit them because they didn't let it hit them, unlike us. Continue.
Meanwhile, in California, which is governed by Comrade Gavin Newsom.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, who's by the way, he's part of the Democrat Party.
Yep.
Prager he says that most dangerous of leaders, a fool with unlimited power.
Oh my
What a
God.
description of him.
Yep.
Prager also says that Governor Comrade Newsom has destroyed and continues to destroy tens of thousands of small businesses and untold numbers of livelihoods. Terry, here's my theory.
Yeah, what is
why
it,
the
Jeff?
left?
Because I have
here it
mine.
is. Why the left is going after small businesses?
Yeah.
Why? And these blue states and these blue city politicians. Why? I'll tell you why. Notice this whole Wuhan virus doesn't affect the big guys like Google, Yahoo, Facebook. It doesn't. The big guys. It doesn't. This doesn't affect them one bit. It was the little small businessmen, Terry, that 4 years ago were fed up with politicians being bought by people, and it was small businesses that got behind a person called Donald Trump that nobody ever expected to be president of this country. And so right now, the left, they're saying, okay, you guys put him in office, we're going to hurt you. This is payback time, small businesses, because the big businesses that fund the left, they're untouched, Terry.
That's right.
They're unscathed. They're making money hand over fist. Google, Yahoo, Facebook, et cetera, Instagram. It's the small businessman that put this non-politician into the White House, and they're going after them with a vengeance and hitting them financially in the pocketbook as revenge for putting Trump in office.
It really
that's
does.
Terry, that's my assessment.
Jesse, I'm going to add to that assessment that I think you missed. Okay, here's what you missed on that. That when small businesses aren't doing well, they have to turn to the big government to get out and pay their bills. And this is another way of converting them to become a big government person rather than subsidiarity that says small businesses are good for the economy. And so this is a payback time. I agree with that. But that other element that says, hey, we got to get rid of the small businessman. They're independent thinkers, Jesse. Most business people are independent. They don't go along with they have PhDs in common sense, which common sense ain't that common. Please, Jesse, before you continue, we just got a tweet here from a person about your pastor who we had on last Friday, Father Guitron. He put out a tweet saying, we are not buffet Catholics. It's pretty much what St. John Paul II said in 1979 out in your former valley, in the San Fernando Valley. And basically, Father's just saying that we don't pick and choose. We have to take the whole banana. So I would just say that's consistent with Father. He's been doing that ever since he's been ordained, that as far as I know, Jess.
Oh, yeah.
He's just telling people this is not, suggestions. These are 10 commandments, not suggestions. So that's my comment.
He's a straight shooter, Terry.
Yeah.
He's a blessing to be out there in the San Gabriel.
Hey, Jesse, he also, and let's get back to this, Dennis Prager. He said he also called out politicians for their arbitrary standards to stop the spread of the virus. What does he mean by that? What he means is...
Well, he gives an example.
Yes, well, go ahead and give it, because it's a good example.
Why can people eat with no mask in an airplane?
Yep.
Inches, not 6 feet from strangers,
yep.
but cannot eat in a California restaurant, which is so much bigger than the inside of an airplane, while sitting 6 feet from the others. Why, he asked? Because Newsom ordered it, and the Los Angeles Times supports it, and like sheep, Californians have accepted it. And Prager also quotes a Swedish doctor, Dr. Rushworth, who explained that the people in this country have by now returned to a normal life.
Yeah.
Countries that imposed far-reaching lockdowns on their citizens acted unreasonably, and the doctor says, shutting down completely in order to decrease the total number of deaths only makes sense if you're willing to stay shut down until a vaccine is available. Dr. Rushworth said, that could take years. No country is willing to wait that long. And Prager has maintains that the coronavirus lockdowns may have been an enormous mistake, possibly the worst mistake the world has ever made. Close quote, not going so far as to call them a crime. Terry?
Let me just throw one more thing in that the herd immunity approach, it just makes so much sense to me. If you think about not allowing you to get germs into your system, you're going to weaken your immune system. I mean, we're going to pay a big price for making people live in a bubble, because when life doesn't live in a bubble, you're going to come out and you're going to be getting sick from all kinds of things. So I think Sweden did a great job of the herd immunity program where people just dealt with it like we have for thousands of years. Jesse, the lockdown, he says, is possibly even more catastrophic than the virus. Of course it is. Mm-hmm. In the outcome, the collapse of global food supply systems, like we said earlier, 10,000 kids die of starvation every single day because of the food supply being taken out. So widespread starvation, yes. Prager said this, that was published in a left-wing The Nation, which nevertheless enthusiastically supports the lockdown. So in other words, they're saying, yeah, we acknowledge that we're killing these kids, but you know what, Jess? They're poor.
We
anyway.
still support it.
Yeah, but we have to cut down the numbers anyway. So he accused the elites, and I accuse them too, Jesse, not simply the left, of being deceitful. I love this. Cowardly and immature. Prager, Jesse, I love what he started. We've been promoting it too here. In 2009, he founded the PragerU, an educational video outlet with conservative viewpoints, and YouTube has in recent years limited access to his videos posted on Google-owned platform. Wonder why, Jess? What's your thought on that?
Well, because all social media is owned by the left, all of it. And so Prager is not a leftist. He tries to put out what Americans have believed, basically using natural law, the common good, his Jewish background. And that's just not allowed. They're trying to censor him. And he's been fighting. He's filed several lawsuits on both state and federal levels and against Google. Mm-hmm. And the superior courts have argued that Google was continuing. Well, the complaint from Prager is that Google continues to unlawfully restrict and restrain speech and expression on that social media platform known as YouTube as well. And unfortunately, Terry, this is why I'm so glad that President Trump keeps putting more judges that are just basically normal, strict constructionists and originalist judges, because Prager hasn't had a very successful time in his lawsuits. They've basically dismissed his lawsuits by all the courts in California. So Prager is still fighting right now to try to keep some type of voice out in the social media platform because, again, he doesn't sing the same tune as the left.
Well, let's be honest, Jesse, about the situation. They want the Constitution to be rewritten. Really, Jesse, that's pretty much what the left wants. They don't like what the Constitution says, and so they're trying to put a situation together where we can start over and scratch, which I think is a big mistake. Jesse, when we come back, I really want, this is something that priests are actually coming out stronger and stronger. There's priests all over the country who are denouncing